Hi there, my name's April Sawtell and welcome to my channel. Today what I'm going to be doing is showing you how to make a pinwheel or a windmill. It's just going to be a quilt block for beginners series block number 8, and right behind me you can see one that's already made. All you're going to need for this project, you'll need some snips, some scissors, a rotary cutter, some pins, you're going to need a ruler, and either a rotating mat or just have a small mat that you can just spin around as you go. That's probably the easiest. If you just keep your iron nice and hot, and because you're going to be pressing. All I'm going to need for this is some squares. I've got some fabric that has print on it, and I've got some plain fabric. I'm going to be using a piece of each. Basically, this is the same thing as making half square triangles. So that's really all we're doing, and it's just how we're going to line them up after. We've already covered half square triangles in our quilt block for beginners series, so if you do want to look back to that, you could, but I'm also just going to do it here again to show you how to align them into a pinwheel or a windmill. Okay, so let's get started. Just take your two pieces of fabric and you're going to put right sides together. All we're going to do is go over to the sewing machine and we're just going to sew 1/4 inch all the way around. See at the sewing machine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put right sides together, and then I'm just going to put 1/4 inch, set my machine to that, and I'm going to follow my blue painter's tape. I'm going to line these up, and I'm just going to drop my presser foot, and I'm going to sew 1/4 inch all the way around the entire block. So all I'm making essentially is half square triangles is what these really are. I'm just going to show you another method how we can make windmills with them, or pinwheels. All right? Pick up your needle and turn and just sew all the way down. And you'll eyeball it when you get to your 1/4 inch. And if you don't want to do that, you can pivot right off it and then reset it. I'm just going to pivot at where I feel the 1/4 inch is. But you could sew right off the entire block and reset. And I'm just following my painter's tape here as my guide to keep me straight. So now what you can do, you can either break your thread, or if you're going to be making a bunch of these, you can just chain piece them. I'm just going to chain piece them. And then I don't have to break the thread till I'm all done. If you go too far, just back stitch a little bit to get you back to your 1/4 inch. Here is you're just going to take your ruler and you're just going to line it diagonal right across your square. So you've got all 4 sides sewn. Take your ruler, just line it up diagonal, point to point, and you're just going to cut it. And then you can spin either you're on your rotary mat or you're just on a mat that you can spin around. Spin it and do the same with the next corner. All right, now you're just going to take each piece and pick up by the dark side, and you're just going to set the seam to all of the pieces. And then you're just gonna open them up and you're gonna push that right open. I'm using steam in my iron. Okay. Okay, now what you're gonna do is you're just going to, I'm gonna get rid of the rotary mat here. So all you're gonna do now, you're just gonna line these up. And once you've got them lined up, you're gonna wanna keep them that way. It's very easy to get them mixed up. So when you're doing this, you just wanna keep them right in that order when you take them over to your sewing machine. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take where there's no seams here. I'm just gonna take this side here, bring that over each other, and I've pressed to the dark side, so then now I know I'm gonna be able to nest these all the way through. I'm gonna nest those seams right together right here, lining them up, and I'm gonna just stick a little pin right there. And I'm gonna, where the pin is, I know that's where my first stitch is gonna come into, you know, on that side. So that'll keep me in order. Same here. I'm going to just pull this one over to this one, nest those seams. That's why it's important if you can just keep your pressing to one side. If you don't do it, if you have fabric that it, you know, you don't really have light and dark, just always pick one of the colors that you're always going to press to. That way you'll always be able to be nest. You'll be able to butt those ends right up together. Okay, and then I'm just going to pop one pin in there. The pin is to line me up, but it's also when I get to my sewing machine, I know that's the angle I'm going to sew in. I'm not going to go at this angle or that angle. I'm going to take these over to my sewing machine, and I am going to just sew 1/4 inch down each side. All I'm going to do now, I'm just going to sew 1/4 inch. I'm going to take my pin out. Line this up with my blue painter's tape and the edge of my presser foot. And I'm just going to sew down. And I'm going to chain piece these. Now you might want to just open this up and make sure that your points are matching, that they're coming together. Okay, I'll see you back at the iron. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to take this over and I'm going to press this opened. And I'm going to give it a little steam. And that will be nice and flat. Now I'm just going to take this pinwheel and I'm going to put them together. I'm going to connect them now. Now that's going to be thick inside there, so I'll show you what we're going to do. First of all, let's line this up. And we're going to bring this seam together down here. These 2 points here. There's 4 points, so we're putting a lot of fabric together there. You're going to want to put a pin there, just to hold you in place. Because you really want to try to bring all those points together in that one spot. So when you open this up, they'll all be touching each other. We're just going to take this back to the sewing machine and we're just going to sew 1/4 inch all the way down. This one edge. All you're going to do here is remember in this, you're going to sew down, and in the center here, you've got seams, a lot of seams coming together. You've got them nested though, so you've got seams going in and out. You're just going to go slow over that, and then you're just going to sew right down. Now, after you open this, you're just going to look at it, and you're just going to make sure that all of your points are lining up, that they're all touching each other. Okay, all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take this and I'm going to snip it. So I've got so much fabric in here. First of all, I can cut those little dog ears off that right there. So those go straight across. Get rid of those. Now I think what I'm going to do, to make this lay a little bit flatter, I'm just going to give one little side here a snip. But I'm not going to go through the seam. So now I'm going to be able to have one piece of fabric going this way and one going that way. Now I'm going to open it up. And I'm going to turn it over. And I'll show you what I mean. So I've cut that. So that bulk, I can push one towards that way and one this way. And flatten that out. And it's pretty thick right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my iron and I'm just going to give it a little press right there in that big thick center. And then I'm going to flip it over and I'm just going to press it down and I'm going to give it a little bit of steam there. And I'm just going to hold it flat. All right, and then you're just going to get all your lint off it, your other threads, and this is how the pinwheel came out. And I'm going to actually make a bunch of these. I've got them all ready that I can start working on them. And when I come back again sometime, maybe not the next tutorial, but soon, I would like to make a quilt with pinwheels. So if you just start putting these together, you can see, and it will grow fast. The bigger the pinwheel, the faster you can make the quilt. So the other thing I just want to mention, if you just take your ruler, you can just cut those little dog ears right off. You can either do it with just a pair of scissors or you can use your rotary cutter. Just get rid of those little dog ears. That will be less bulk. Okay, and there it is. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time, and remember to keep it simple. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.